All right, so today we're here to discuss if sports need Web3. And I think when I think first about do sports really need a Web3, it comes more from a question is Web3 is all about decentralized environments, about security, about community building. And my question is really, what part of aspects do we need and we need to preserve in order to make it official for the crowd in Web3 for sports? And first of all, I'd like to introduce everybody that's here and have them introduce themselves. And
So I'm Peter, co-founder of Moongate. So we are building an NFT utility platform with specific use cases in ticketing, memberships, a lot of in real life activations. So we're working with a lot of different type of events, raves, and also actually including some of the sports organization as well. So yeah, pleasure to be shared the stage with all the people here.
Hi, I'm Pierre. I'm representing Metafy today. We're doing a card collection, digital card collection for MMA fighters, and working to digitalize the whole MMA market to bring new monetization opportunities for fighters. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Kevin. I'm the founder at DFIT. DFIT is a mobile application that gamify and value physical activity. So I'm a 16 times Ironman finisher, did the World Championship in 2019, and just wanted to bring together sport and Web3, so pretty spot on with the team today.
Hi, my name is José Simão. I'm the head of retail licensing and merchandising at Sports Web Benfica. And for the ones that don't know what Benfica is and represents, it's the biggest club in Portugal, one of the biggest in the world, and that's it.
And I'm Jeremy. This is my partner, Sweep. We run our marketing firms. We're both pretty big KOLs, and we're going to be moderating this panel. And yeah, excited to get into it. So do you have a question in mind you want to ask? Of course. All right, go ahead.
so I'll get right into it. I think first when we look at it, and all of us are working in Web3 on some level or events and communication, you must have something that pops to your mind as in, okay, how can I integrate this? What can I improve in terms of whether it's security, like I told you, whether it's in terms of building communities. I know you told me you do events. So perhaps you can tell me, is events, do they need Web3? Could we use sort of integration for the mainstream events? What are your thoughts on this?
Sure. Get right into it. So I think for us, what we really see, I guess, on NFTs and blockchain is really engaging and transforming the value between brands and consumers, specifically using NFTs to build up the community, the engagement, not really just stand alone on a specific kind of Web2 platform per se, like a centralized platform, but really the interoperability of kind of blockchain that can bring value to kind of the end users, the brands, to engage them across all platforms. So I guess, maybe to put it on a more specific kind of use case or examples, for instance, I think maybe for some of the sports brands that we are working with right now, one of the key pain points that they feel or see right now is really hard to identify who are their core fans are. Like, for instance, right now, all these different kind of platform, merchandise, ticketing, and maybe memberships, and also different platforms are kind of siloing all the data within their own platform, and they can't really kind of get any data out of all these kind of platform at all. So all these brands, sports, names, they want to kind of actually see who are their core fans. They want to kind of engage them further. And I would say kind of bringing kind of these, engagement through blockchain. Right now, they can see who are their core fans across different platforms because of the interoperability that kind of blockchain brings. So it's kind of one of the key things that we kind of bring. And we do see kind of NFTs, and in general, I would say tokenizing a lot of these kind of experience across different kind of, chains, or across different kind of verticals, including, Among Us in the games, and, physical training or whatnot would kind of bring a lot of value, to all these brands as well. And yeah, so that's kind of how we see it right now.
What about you guys? I'd love to know how we could be integrated into your sort of workspace and environments.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the thing is that to me, sport and Web3 is just a perfect match. Why is that? We talk a lot about community in Web3, but the truth is that most projects don't need a community. Like, you don't need a community just to talk about your NFT trade all day. You know what I mean? And you need like an evolving environment. And I believe that gaming and sport are the perfect match for Web3 because you have those evolving quests in the game, right? That you can share and discuss with your friend. When you get into sport, well, you're evolving on a personal journey for growth, right? So our community talk about the next race, whether it's going to be an ultra trail, it's going to be a triathlon, it's going to be run. They achieve personal bests. So they're into the gamification of the inside the mobile application, but they are racing all around the world. And they're sharing this journey together, inspiration, motivating each other, training each other. So I think building like bringing those values from Web3 and the community into sport is just making that perfect match into how we grow and evolve as a project, but as a person as well, who wants to get better into sport and into his health.
On our end, we decided to use Web3 as a product because it facilitates some issues that were actual into the MMA market. The biggest one being the revenue distribution towards the fighters. As of today, even most of the fighters don't really make it at the end of the month. They aren't making that much money. They aren't rich as we can see, for example, into boxing. And we try to use the Web3 technology to make something trustworthy and create a more fair model towards this issue. So basically, when we create a card for a fighter, any sales and exchange afterwards between players, there is a share that is going directly to the fighters. So we aren't just buying the image for a certain amount of year and making money out of them. We are sharing the success of the brand and the platform. The more the sales grow, the more the fighters can make money, and this was something possible through the NFT technology to make everything transparent. Any fighters can check if we how many sales there were on their cards, and thus how much money we owe to them as they have won through this system. And in fact, it worked quite well. We managed to gather several hundreds of fighters all around the world because this issue of revenue distribution was shared around all the fighters all around the world. And I think we can do better, and we chose the Web3 to do so. This wasn't all mandatory, but we felt this is a good trend to follow to establish a new model into the market and to bring innovation and digitalization onto MMA market.
Well, perhaps my role here is a little bit different of yours because I represent a club and a club that has a lot of touch points in either actually we are using Web3 and potentially. So when we see a club with more than one sport, we have more than 30 sports around it. And it's important that in the first phase of the application, we were trying to monetize what was expected. So we were the first club making a contract with Sorare in 2018. Now Sorare, we know that it came away, and now it's a little bit in the crisis, but it's increasing again. So that area in 2020, we have developed, I don't know, 700 meetings with so many companies to understand what was the focus of the development of this specific area. And this is a part of the monetization. To have monetization, a club like ours have first to identify what our real assets to monetize. Footballers or players of each 100 elements of our history, videos, interviews, newspapers, etc., to understand that those IP rights are ours, that we can use it and potentially in the several areas. Then we have identified the second part, that is services. We have ticketing. We have a lot of service that we have to provide to our members. And for the ones that don't know, we have been the first club with more members in the world, paying members. Now we are the second one, but we are more than 300,000 members that pay during each season, 12 euros per month for 14 months. So it's interesting to understand that services are totally available to it, but they have to integrate with all the technology that we have behind. And this has been a problem with some applications that we have seen in the market. The third part is security. As you know, we sell either physically and digital more than 3 million products, licensed products in the world. So, the blockchain and all the technology that is behind it, and in Web3, it can be also a method, a process to certify the originality and to know that it's original, the product itself. And these are the three main things that we are developing in it.
Yeah, those are all great answers. So, I mean, obviously, we can both agree, we can all agree that there's a lot of benefits to actually implementing Web3 into sports. So let me be the negative guy for a sec. So let me ask you a question. Don't you think that Web3 technology could actually be a little bit too complex to actually implement it into Web3 and to sports, and to actually like confuse the people who are into sport and just make everything a little more complicated for them?
I'll jump first. I think there's several aspects to this question. First, we initiated all the Web3 trend and market through the technological scope, through a technological approach, and obviously it made the market very complicated, and for good reason. Second, for any market that is being created, there is always a phase of early stages where the market is structured. All the companies and all the services are creating at the same time and are trying over time to work together. So I believe we're still in the early stages of this market, and time will tell. But to my belief, we branded the NFT, for example, as a product. Why it is only protocol? It is only the we don't really need to see it label NFT. It doesn't bring any added value. What's bring added value? It's what's behind it, what the services or the product that you can benefit out of it. And this is this mentality that will come over time, and as more services create more accessibility, it will become easier and easier. We started to do such things on MetaFight through the single sign-on, quite an easy feature, but you can just start onto a Web3 approach, connect to your Google account, and bam, you get a wallet address without even knowing it. And do you really need to know it? Yeah, at some point, yeah, but it will come through learning, through the experience, and I think this is the best midterm approach to convert people to financial education.
I mean, look, I definitely agree. I think at the moment, especially being pretty early into Web3 in general, you often see a lot of these gaming apps, a lot of the new apps that are integrated being ran on the blockchain, but the interface is very user-friendly. So people would be using the apps, people would be gaming, using all the interfaces, but they would never know that has anything to do with crypto. Now, this brings up another question to me. So they mentioned about maybe it's harder to onboard the masses through crypto or Web3, but being in Benfica, I'm just throwing out ideas. For example, if the players were to be given some sort of, not the players, sorry, the fans, some sort of governance over the votes for the scouts that you bring in, is that something that you would think would work? For example, the crowd has a 50% say, and then now you have a governance with the team, because you want to integrate the guys that are playing, the guys that are fans, that's your revenue stream. And also the second thing I want you to touch up upon is, do you think NFTs can be integrated with your merchandise? Because you mentioned you guys have a lot of brands all over the world. And this brings up a thought, because look, if we want to be legit and we want to make sure that there's no replicas, because I'm sure there's a lot of replicas, then you could integrate NFTs on the blockchain. So every shirt, for example, gets a QR. So I'm wondering, like, where does this put us at?
Yes, it's interesting what you are saying, because, for example, we have launched last month pieces of our grass, of our playing grass. And the certification of the authenticity is an NFT. So also we have launched a specific design line of a physical product, also with a label that has the NFT inside. And it will convert on a usage for the avatar when we will have it. So a combination between both. I'm totally confident, because sometimes, and being in this side, people have confused a little bit of the crisis of NFT and the crisis of crypto with the future of Web3. And this has to be explained that are two different and separate things. Yeah, Web3 is going to the future with a lot of application, with a lot of service, going in specific platforms more quicker than the others. And this, we are totally confident. And now we are again in the phase of getting more protocols, new partnerships, and so on, in the next 6 1 year, more partnerships going around. So that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I want to ask.
I just want to add something onto that because you asked about going to the masses, right? So play to earn. Everybody know about play to earn. What's the market capitalization of the play to earn segment right now? Anybody knows? It's 14 billion. 14 billion. Then you have the move to earn, right? Which is a like relatively new category since 2022, right? Created in April 2 years ago. 600 million. Right, so play to earn is like about 18 times larger today as the move to earn, right? Because it's a new segment. There's less projects, it's more recent. Now, how many gamers in the world?
1 billion?
1 billion, right? I don't know, that sounds a bit big actually. I don't know the number. You guys are the gamers. How many people can walk and have a smartphone?
Yeah, billions.
Right. So I'm bullish about the move to earn segment. First, because it's really undervalued right now. 18 times lower than the play to earn. And when we talk about mass adoption, I'm bullish about sports because anybody has a smartphone, anybody can walk, run, cycle, swim. We actually have all sports integrated. And I believe that's going to be the main driver of adoption because there is plenty of apps already, which are not Web3, and you earn some coins, but it's just not coins. So we onboard you in seconds, defeat.com, create an account, and then you earn coins like a Web2 app that already had 100 millions of users, but it's actually a real coin. So the next message we tell them is like, yeah, you earn those coins, that's cool, but you know, it's actually a coin. It's like, what do you mean? Well, it has a value. No, it's not just points. So if you want, you can create a wallet or connect a wallet and you can withdraw it on the blockchain. And I think to me, sport is going to be like the biggest driver of Web3 adoption in the coming years. And the move to earn segment should be at least as big as the play to earn, but I believe even 3-4x bigger by 2030.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you want to say something or should I go on? If you, all right, for sure. Yeah, so I remember because this brings up something. So I remember like back in 2021 when there was a lot of NBA clips, for example, that were selling as NFTs for, yeah, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Yeah. And I think the main problem with that is just it wasn't like accessible to the public. It wasn't mass adopted to Web2 users. Do you see this as something that could actually like be accessible and could be something that Web2 guys and just like general guys that are, you know, watching sports or sport fans could just like buy that, or just like it would make sense for them to actually like go ahead and just buy an NFT or a clip of their favorite athlete or stuff like that?
I guess I can quickly chime in on this. I think right now, I think what's different, I guess, you know, compared to a few years back, is that I would say if we are talking about like 2018, 17, two bull cycle ago, I would say the infrastructure is not ready at all for this kind of adoption at all. Because mainly, you know, the gas fee is like super high. Creating a wallet, you need to remember the seed phrase or whatnot. I would say the entire UX is just super hard and really just cater to the crypto natives. I would say even until like 2021, right? I think even back then, the L2s, the wallet infrastructure, all the different kind of, verticals are not there yet, for, I guess, a lot of people, especially I think for the mass audience to adopt. But I would say, in the past 2 years, I would say, the wallet infrastructure is like one of the key things right now you can do, just create a wallet with social logins. Right now you have like L2s, if not even L3s, like add chain to specifically kind of cater for a specific use case when it comes to adoption. So I would say these are kind of like, more mature infra levels to kind of bring such that, all the, I guess, application layer like what we are working on right now would kind of be making a lot of way more sense than, like the same thing working on maybe compared to like maybe a few years back. And so that's why I would say maybe when NBA Top Shot back then, I think people would still have to kind of create a MetaMask. There are a lot of like agencies that help people to create a MetaMask. And right now, when you see a similar kind of type of adoption, it would be just kind of people logging in with emails. We create a wallet automatically behind the scene such that, no one will actually know that you're interacting with it, but then you still have the ownership to enjoy all the benefit with it. I think that would be key. And I do agree, that, sports is going to be the main driver. Is that not, maybe some people, they, do sports and then some people, even they don't do sports, they will kind of at least watch some of the sports or kind of be a fan of a sport. Like for instance, maybe, a lot of people watch F1 for instance, but not like everyone will kind of drive an F1 car per se. But I would say, after all, it's just a huge market, you know, and a lot of touch point, I would say, for kind of different brands or kind of sports to kind of bring and trying to push that option on that sense.
Beautiful. So I think I'll take a little bit of a different direction now at this. And the main question is, do sports need Web3? But does Web3 really need sports? That's my question. The thing is, the good thing about sports is when you onboard these huge teams, you get access to big communities. And for us, I think if that's our way to onboard users and this becomes sort of a mass adoption, it might be one of the best things we ever did. Because if a team comes in and uses one technology, this becomes sort of a system, an environment that's constant. And I think Web3 really needs sports. You want to
Speak to the mic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Did you hear my question? I can repeat it.
I mean, the question was just like basically, does sport need Web3? Is that right? Like to answer, what's the thematic?
No, so I'm saying, let's think of it the opposite. Does Web3 need sports, and in what ways can it bring value to Web3? So I spoke about it, for example, communities.
It does, you know. So we talk a lot about infra and, you know, all of those blockchains and layer 1, layer 2, layer 0. I'm blockchain agnostic. Like, it's not really my problem. My job is to bring millions of users into Web3, right? Not to say 100 of millions. So my focus is my product is to get anybody that can walk, swim, bike, run. And we're adding another 6 sports this year, like skiing, rowing, absolutely everything. Bring those people into Web3. They don't really need it. They don't need Web3. But when they learn about it, they find it amazing. Because they're like, hey, I'm earning points in this app by walking. I'm like, yeah, it's just points, right? It's nothing. But now you can withdraw them. And I'm building a shop. You can buy my merch. You can buy my Defeat sport accessories. I'm bringing brands. I have Garmin as a partner. I'm bringing like another dozen of brands. And I'm like, you're going to buy product with the coin you actually earn. And we are creating like an alternative sport economy. Wherever you are in the world, you're going to earn Defeat, you're going to spend Defeat. That's it. And for me, this is beautiful, right? Because I want this to become a new parallel sport economy where you don't need anything else but my app, my coin, and all the sport brands and product that we listed to our community, and you have a mean of payments. We have it all, right? So that's my job, to bring that way a lot of wave of new users into Web3, and I think that's a lot of value for the Web3 community to grow. We talk about 1.2 billion Web3 users by 2030. How are we going to get there, right? Well, I think this kind of customer-focused product is needed. So talking about infra in school, I don't really care about the layer. I plug into my app, whatever blockchain wants to work with me, we can walk. I like what it unleash, but I don't care about the blockchain itself. I mean, they're all good. They're all cheap, they're all good, they're all fast, whatever. Decentralized, not decentralized. Nobody really care, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think, yeah, and the community aspect is just, it makes things a lot easier. Sports that are huge communities that, like, for example, Benfica, I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands of people that if you did an integration, they'd be using it instant. And I have a question for you specifically, which is a bit of a wonder. So you know how there's tickets, right? So there's a big game, people want to buy tickets, and the resale is usually sort of illegal. It's not something that you can do OTC, over the counter, to some people. Do you think that this is something that could be tokenized? Say there's a game and there's only 60K tickets. Is this something that could be an NFT? People could trade it, buy it? What do you think?
Well, I think in the future, the tickets, or because as you know, clubs like Benfica, like the big ones, have 2/3 of the beginning of the season, they have already sold the season tickets. So, but under the season tickets, you can have linked to the Web3 several assets. I would call it videos, experiences, gamification. That having that main product, the season ticket behind you, then you can provoke the type of utilization that at the moment you don't have it. Okay. The second thing that you were asking is, it will be possible to sell that ticket in the second market. Fortunately, Benfica has already developed, so at the moment it doesn't need. But you can ask me, and in the future, it will going to be possible to pass several contents, like for example, Manchester City is doing in their stadium. They are going to have and they are having a huge investment. You are going to have specific views of the game that you'll not have the possibility to see it in other channels besides specific ones, and not those and digital ones. You're going to have you have the possibility to integrate to it Web 3.0 and other uses that gives to you also. So I would say ticketing with other assets that we don't have it at the moment. Yes. And at the end, if you go to all the games, you'll have specific assets that it's a trophy for you to earn if you have went to, and other type of usage in the digital also with the link with the Web3 will be also useful for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, I mean, that brings up a conversation that I actually had a few weeks ago with a client. What they do is they had like a Web3 game, but it looked like it had a Web2 interface. Everything just looked like a Web2 game, like it's just a typical, mobile game and everything. But it just had Web3 technology behind it, and the users don't even need to know that, that's what behind the game. And I see like that's where we're going. So let me ask you guys, like generally speaking, where do you see Web3 with sports going in like, let's say 5 years? Like, do you think every, let's say, sport app or sports game or sport ticket sales, whatever, like anything and everything, would that be integrated within Web3 in your opinion? Like, do you think that's going to be Web3 technology behind anything and everything regarding this?
Well, I think what you're asking is clearly adoption, and I don't think that for 5 years from now we'll have a full adoption on any product and services that is being delivered. Web3 ticketing won't be everywhere yet, because even if there is so much benefit to it, this is still some technology to be integrated into existing corporation, and it is not always that easy to provoke shift especially into big companies where to make a shift of this importance, you have to carefully master all the skills required, and it will take some time still, but we are seeing the first integration of Web3 into various fields, one after the other, and this is going into the good way, but it will still take many times to be fully integrated, and I'm not even sure that Web3 is needed everywhere. There are still some field that doesn't require it and that are just properly functioning as of today. So if it doesn't bring any added value, why switching to it?
And I guess quickly chime in is I would say what was mentioned about, I guess, ticketing is kind of exactly kind of what we are, I guess, focus on past 2 years. It's kind of exactly kind of our domain. I would say, especially for sports, I would say a lot of like brands approach us because they know that we do like NFT ticketing. They want to see how they can kind of integrate this into the entire kind of ecosystem, because obviously this is one key major part of obviously the revenue stream, the engagement part, and also really kind of engaging with their own fans and building the community. It's kind of like the initial gateway for all the sports and brands to kind of reach out to all these users. So I think we spent a lot of time to kind of focus on this specific domain on how to use this as an entrance, yet make it still very seamless. I would say maybe a lot of it right now, for instance, maybe for this conference, we do the ticketing, and then there would be some of the crypto native asking that, hey, I don't recognize this wallet at all. The main reason is that because we have already kind of created a wallet behind the scene, using the email. And I would say this is kind of, a few things that I would say have to kind of bridge on the education perspective for both kind of the Web3 natives and also some of the Web2 users. Right now, the QR code, instead of representing kind of the tickets, is actually representing kind of your wallets. And we actually check your NFT ownership real time on chain, whether you actually owned it. And I would say these are some of the product, I guess, design or logic when they kind of push for adoption in real life use cases that I think, obviously maybe right now still need some work on the education piece, but I would say in the long run, maybe 5 to 10 years time, when it's kind of be even more accessible on the infrastructure perspective and even on the education perspective. I would say all the gamification stuff that was mentioning, maybe within the stadium, you can do a lot of like trophies, and you can do engagement, you can do games, even when you watch different sports, or even actually do some maybe online kind of quests, or kind of do others, maybe your day-to-day kind of activities, can kind of link it with your day-to-day experience in your sports. I would say because of blockchain, there are a lot of possibilities that I think in previous traditional Web2 platforms, they may not be able to kind of realize, with these kind of engagements. Now, I think especially even for the Gen Z, or I guess the younger generations, they're very used to kind of digital ownerships, right? kids right now, they do like Roblox, they kind of spend a lot of money and they feel proud of owning some sort of like a digital asset in Roblox, right? Which is not something that we have when we are young. So I would say this kind of adoption is really going to be pushed by the digital ownership kind of mindset for these kind of generation as well.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I don't think that this technology is going to be integrated everywhere, and I don't even want it. Seriously, I just want, if 1.2 billion people are owning a wallet by 2030, I just want a third of that to be using my app. That's it. Period. That. So, I mean, everybody here can walk or swim or cycle. You have a smartwatch, you have a phone. We are compatible with every single devices. We have a booth just right there. You can come and cycle with me as well. We have a home trainer set up and stuff. And that's my only goal. I don't need the technology to be everywhere. I just want my app to be the app that everybody wants.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I mean, I don't think it should be everywhere and everywhere, because I think there are, negative points to actually having Web3 integrated. I think it can be abused in a negative way. For example, communities or sport teams just like trying to make money or cash out from their communities, from their fans. I mean, we've seen this happen in Web3, and I have no doubt it's probably going to happen in Web2 as well, if it's going to be, leaning towards that direction. So I guess my question is, what do you think are like the biggest concerns in terms of that mass adoption into sports? Like, what do you think are the negative points to actually having Web3 sports?
I don't see any. There's no harm. Just had an extra motivation for those that are too lazy to get disciplined and motivated enough to move. Well, we just created that extra layer of gamification that enhance that and give that little drive, using that extrinsic motivation that empower human into making decision to take action, right? So I think I see no harm into doing it, as long as the tokenomics are healthy, right? Because if we build messed up stuff and Ponzinomics whatsoever, then we're going to scare people off Web3, right? So we have to do things right. It's our responsibility, all the builders, to make sure that we do things right. Retail doesn't get dumped on. People get happy and embrace Web3 for what it empowers and allows, right? And I think that's the only thing that could do harm, potentially, for anybody then need Web3 in his life.
I completely agree. And Jeremy and I, we do marketing for a lot of years. We're doing all the go-to-markets for the Socialify, GameFi clients, and so on. And my favorite part about being integrated Web3 against Web2 is that we are able to generate a lot of incentive systems, like you said yourself. And that's where it becomes interesting, because if we take day-to-day activities, if we take sports, if we take walking, for example, and we're able to have the value on top to the people that are already doing it, then I see it as a no-brainer. I don't see it as a way to lose, especially if there's no really risk in buying in as a governance or something. And as long as it's being used right and it's implemented the right things, then it's all about incentives. If we can incentivize the players to come and watch a game for watch time, if we can give them perks by doing activities that they don't like as much, like walking, like writing exams, but as long as there's a tokenized system to it and we can generate and stack rewards on top, then there's really no risk. It's a really good way of making people integrate into the system, because for them, it's just risk-free. And that's opposed to, of course, raising money or doing things against. But keeping things simple and going in your direction, at least I absolutely love it. And I think it's absolutely a must. And look, in terms of really Benfica being a soccer team and everything, I'm wondering what sort of integrations do you already have with crypto and NFTs that the public's not aware of? Because I'm sure like even us, your day-to-day consumers are using things that we may not even know have the technology behind it. And I'm just wondering what is already implemented, what is already being done, and how do you plan to move it forward?
First, and just to correct you, we are not a soccer team, okay? As I told you, no. We have more than 30 sports. One of the teams, it's over there. It's our esports teams, 2 teams. So we have more than one sport, several. We have hockey, volleyball, basketball, and so on. So it's important in terms of the assets, because we are talking about a big community that are Benfica supporters, but then they are divided in little communities. One's like more specific sports, the other like the sports. Coming back in a thing that you're commenting, it's important. Sometimes people go away from a word that is called regulation. And being in this side, it's important to assume in the industry that regulation is needed, not for you, not for me, but for the public itself. So to have a stamp when the tokenization is regulated by somebody, it's important for assuming the future. Other industries have assumed that as an obligation, and it's always good for the total industry. Regarding the applications and all the partnerships that we have been doing, well, we have since 2020, 2021, we have made a lot of partnerships in this industry. We have more than 14 sponsors, partnerships, and some of them have their specific area to introduce. We have already monetized in products that we have sold, as I told you before. Some are developed with the ticketing and the other industry, and some are not, because at that time was not possible to integrate. For example, to have several blockchains in one marketplace specifically where could be assumed several assets, not only for engagement, also for monetization, it together was very complicated at that time. And we have tried to push that, and then it came down, and now we are pushing again to understand what are the variables that we can and we have to assume for the future. So at the moment is this, and we have done well. You're talking about engagement area, Socios.com, for example. It's a company that sometimes some parts of for people to vote in specific actions, they have to assume as one of the parts of their tokenization, okay? Or others, for example, Sorar also, or others that I could speak with you a lot of them, but at the moment we are reorganizing everything, and we are step by step pushing again to the market and to the partnerships to the market, okay?
That's beautiful. So, I mean, that raises a question for you and for pretty much everybody on the stage. I mean, I'm genuinely curious, like, what was your biggest obstacle in terms of actually trying to integrate Web3 onto your day-to-day basis and onto your businesses? I'm genuinely just curious. Want to take that? Okay.
Well, if I may start, for us, this was the explanation of the concept of MetaFight, creating cards like FIFA cards, but for MMA fighters, and explaining the concept behind it, the revenue share model, and what technology we're using. Well, they are very familiar with all the technological world, and this was this simplification, this education that we had to do in front of them. We went by to see one-on-one fighters, several hundred of them, and every time refining the speech to come up with a very simple way to put it, the concept, and for them to understand what they are getting into. This was very important to us for us to get there. That they get the understanding of what are we doing, what are we using as a technology, and how it is a benefit for them. This is not only about signing contracts and getting the IP back to the company. This is also an incentive for them. So we're trying to destroy this barrier to transform it into an incentive and get a win-win deal on the table for us and them.
Yeah, I would say echo maybe the education probably is one of the biggest obstacles. Maybe, for MetaFight, it would be educating the fighters, how the revenue split could be like in the blockchain space, where I think it's nothing similar in the Web2 space. I think for us, it would be, working with all the sports brands and other different brands. When they approach us, they actually don't know what they want. Obviously for us, we're kind of like a company that are building our own product. I would say in the traditional space, it's going to be super mature. There are like Salesforce building the product, and then you have like Accenture or I don't know, like BCG doing the consulting for the company and do the implementation for kind of different brands when it comes to digital transformation. I would say for us, or in the crypto space in general, I would say right now it's not as mature in that sense. And but I think right now, especially the education phase would be quite crucial when it comes to, I guess, Web2 adoption. What are the potential activations that they can do? What are the other brands? What are the best practice? What are the different good use cases or case studies that have been in the space? So for us right now, apart from building a product, sometimes when working with kind of like bigger clients, we have to kind of take one more step to even kind of doing more kind of like a consulting role per se, kind of doing the education. And obviously these going to be a really longer kind of sales cycle per se, but I think that's going to be, needed when, I guess, at this point, and hopefully, I guess, maybe in a few years time, I think the industry will be more mature, clients going to be more mature as well. And it will be kind of, I guess, getting past this kind of obstacle as well.
The biggest obstacle you ask, right? Everything? From the shitty user experience for MetaMask, having to select the network that doesn't even exist and telling people to go and add a custom RPC. What the hell are you talking about? The language, the network down, the price up and down, the exchange crash. I mean, what else can I mention? Everything has been a challenge, right? From your app to be kicked out of the store as well because Apple is not happy. You have a crypto payment in it, and they want you to pay them 30% by using their own Apple Pay thing. Everything is a challenge, but that makes it beautiful, right? Because we are building those things that no one has built, and as you build it, everything evolves. Because all the builders are pushing, right? So the whole industry evolves, everything improves, and there's things that you want to speed up as a pace of building, but there are things that you do not control, right? Like Apple accepting crypto, no, it's not something you control. So you have to adapt and be constantly open, listen to the market, see the new innovation, and then building right tokenomics. Because not only you build something, but you're building an economy, right? And I think the world economy has not been built in a day. People sometimes like expect us to do a white paper and then having everything right from the first year. Like, dude, like we're literally building a new economy, right? So we need to test, we need to fail, we need to learn. So everything is a challenge building in Web3, but that's why we love it so much.
Yeah, of course, it's a challenge. I would say even something that's very, very straightforward. But what may have worked 1 week ago, it doesn't work today. Things change on the daily. And being full-time Web3 for all of us, we can all be certain that what worked 1 year ago is completely different. And this is a space that you need to be in 24/7. And that's really my big question, because when I onboard people and we do some big guide, because we do marketing, right? So when we approach the user base and we educate them, and even if it's a Web2 product, we need to make sure that everything is completely nailed out. And it's just about the little difficulties, whether it's the chain, whether it's not even up to us, right? So if the chain is down, what do? And we need to find this gap in terms of filling. And I think it's beautiful because we're building so many ecosystems on top of small issues. And you just see it more and more and more innovation. And what started like as a small product becomes our ecosystem.
And the language. We have to stop. we have to stop talking the way we talk here, because when you talk with normies outside, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? All the acronyms, all the fancy words, like we have to find a way to democratize, right? So language, yeah. We did Gen here. Tell people there's a meme coin conference, let's get wrecked.
We're gonna make it.
Nah, I'm just saying, like, even we live in a house right now, like we're staying in a house with a bunch of Web3 digits and everything. We say like GM to each other when we wake up. That's not something that is normal, you know what I mean? Like that needs to be changed immediately. You had a question, by the way?
Closing wall, maybe?
What are you saying?
A closing wall, maybe? Or
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're out of time anyway.
okay.
So let's keep things a little bit simpler and just look into the future on where we're standing, really. And when do you think is our main objective as the future of crypto and the people that are innovating this early? What's on us to make sure that is here? That goes in terms of community building, in terms of security, in terms of making sure there's as little rugs. And when do you think we'll reach a point in which this really becomes mainstream and we're starting to see it everywhere?
Sure. So I guess on like a closing note, I would say, to kind of push adoption for, I guess, Web3 in general in the sports industry, probably need all the verticals in the space to kind of, I guess, put this together. I guess not only just, for us, it's focusing more on the in real life kind of experience, kind of integrating kind of the blockchain with kind of in real life integration. There would be kind of like, like more like a GameFi, SocialFi kind of experience where you can kind of engage with different individual players or kind of with every kind of individual to kind of push the adoption. And obviously, I think the most important part would be kind of on the sports brand side of things, which I think is rare to see kind of pioneer kind of pushing the adoption and blockchain since I think we're mentioning like 2018, which is like super early, I think, compared to the rest of the world. And I think definitely we will need more brands right now, and I guess in general, to kind of really open-minded and try and kind of really have to, I guess, open-minded and have to also a little bit budget as well to kind of try different things and see what works and what doesn't. And I think, yeah, that's probably one of the key things that I would say kind of to push the whole thing forward in the sports adoption piece. Yeah.
Well, on my vision to how it will be tomorrow, I do hope to see some economic model to be renewed through the spirit more than the technology, I guess. This is the trend on which we used to create our own model in sports that isn't that is quite unique. This is not something quite new, but we use the pretext of Web3 to bring this more fair model into for the fighters, and I think this model can be replicated to other sports. This is mostly based. We don't pay you upfront sum of money. We share the results of the success, and I believe this is quite a good summary for the Web3 spirit. And Wagmi, as you said, we're gonna make it. This is quite a motto over there.
I don't know what's the future of crypto or the future of Web3. I don't have a crystal ball. Everything you believe keeps changing overnight, so it's really hard to predict. What I know is that it's beautiful, it's empowering, it allows a lot of things that were not possible without Web3. All I know, and for what I could speak about, is what's the future of sports gamification. It's DFIT, but you understood that already. So this is my focus, this is my mission. I believe like what we're creating is really powerful right now. It literally gets people moving. It creates that, as I said, universal like cryptocurrency for sport products. And I think that's something powerful. So the future of Web3, I have no clue. I think it's up to us to actually build it, not try to predict, but actually do the work day in, day out, make sure we get it out there. And it's amazing to see so many people today that are not into Web3. I met several at the booth. They're just curious. What's this about? What's all the fuzz? Let's understand. And I think, yeah, it's just our responsibility to keep building as we do and explain to people what's possible thanks to Web3 that was not before.
All right, so I think this is it for today. For all the legions out here, I just want to say that we're so fucking back and we're going to make it. We're still very, very early. And everybody that's here is doing things right because I believe that's the future. And I'll just say for myself, I'm literally going all in and putting my all in on this because that's what I believe in and I'm a maxi and that's pretty much it.
That's how we roll. That's how we do it. And yeah, let's fucking get it.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
And last thing, we are doing a 5 p.m. run, 5:30 every single day this week. So if you want to join for running before the drinks out tonight, feel free. Main entrance 5:30, 10 kilometers. Thank you.